All right, guys, so I've owned this Maverick, this Ford Maverick hybrid for a few months now, and I just want to go over some points for those people that might be thinking about buying, or even some people that already own and they just want to do some more research. But I want to go through three things: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, it's not a comprehensive list, it's just 3 points, okay? Now, the first thing is the good. Now, there are a lot of good things about this car, and I've really enjoyed owning it for the last few months. And it's hard for me to single out one good thing, but I guess for me, the good is that it's a hybrid. That's one of the things that really appealed to me about this truck. I wasn't interested in the non-hybrid version. I wanted a truck that was good on gas, that I could drive around the city no problem, but still had some, utilitarian functionality for me. And, when I'm, fishing or camping or something like that, I wanted something a little bit more rugged. So to me, it was a good compromise between the two worlds, between a good city driver with great fuel efficiency and an outdoors truck. So to me, that's the best thing. And if you want to talk about fuel efficiency, a Ford, I think they really understated the numbers, because I think everybody is getting over 40 miles a gallon. You can see I'm currently getting 41 and a half miles a gallon, and I think that's fantastic. For a truck to get this kind of mileage, I think is just crazy. I mean, that's close to Prius numbers, and I think that is the best, most fantastic thing about my Maverick hybrid. So next up is the bad. Now, there's not a whole lot of bad things about this Ford Maverick, but there are a few. It's not perfect, and there are some things that do bug me quite a bit. Um, Certainly not deal breakers. But so the bad that I have in mind is the braking. The braking is bad. What happens is there's regenerative braking, and then there's the disc pad braking, the standard braking. And there's that transition point where you move from regenerative to regular mechanical braking, and that point, that transition is very rough, and the car tends to take a bit of a dive when you're going at slow speeds. When you're going at high speed, stopping, no problem. But when you're just doing a little bit of creeping, a little bit of positioning moving, and then you're trying to stop and push it a little bit harder, it wouldn't stop, and then it push a little bit harder, and then finally, bam, it just takes a dive, and the braking is a little rough. And I'm going to try to demo that for you. So let's just pretend I'm moving slowly down the street, and I come to a stop, and then I stop something like right here. Now, I'm a little bit behind that car, and I say to myself, hey, I want to position myself a little bit closer and close the gap and not annoy people. So I'm going, and I'm pressing the brakes, more. It's still not stopping. Then I got to press it, and then it gives me that hard slam brake, and that's really annoying. And you would think that I pressed it a lot harder, but I didn't. I just pressed it a little bit more until the car finally stopped. And that's bad. I mean, I think Ford needs to fix that. All right, next up is the ugly. Now, I don't think there's a lot of ugly things about the truck, and one of the things I really like is the color. So if you look at the whole truck, I think it's rather beautiful. Let's take a look at this beautiful truck. And I think Ford got the proportions just right. I mean, being a small truck, it ran the risk of looking a little bit wimpy, but they got the proportions just right. And I think it is definitely a beautiful truck. And you look here, I painted my calipers, gave it a little bit of extra flair. So, what would I consider ugly about this car? So for that, we need to go inside. So the ugly is in here. It's this part of the dash. I think it looks awful. Let's take a closer look, and you can see this material. It's kind of like a smooth material, but then over here it tries to give itself some maybe rugged granite type looks with these edges. And I don't know, this plasticky thing. It reminds me of that material that was in old airplanes that they used to make the airplane sinks and counters out of, and or maybe porta potty sinks. That, it's just not pretty. And I don't know. It's it's definitely Clearly, to me, the ugliest thing about this car is this dash. Not even this part of the dash, it's just this part of the dash. So, there's certainly a lot to like about this car, and I think very few things to hate about this car. So for me, going over the good, the bad, and the ugly, the ugly was kind of easy. The bad, there were a few bad things, but what was hard is the good, because there's a lot of good things about this car, and I can't even go over all of them, but I just went through one. But overall, I'm very happy with my purchase, and I think the general person would be happy too with this car.